Yo, my peoples, what's up? Welcome to the One Stop Co-op Shop. Jason here. Today I have a preview for Tiny Epic Game of Thrones. This one is the latest and the biggest and most complex of the Tiny Epic games, and it is the first one to feature an IP. One of my favorites, HBO and George R.R. Martin's Game of Thrones. Here are all of your favorites, House Stark, House Lannister, and everyone else vying for supremacy in Westeros in this dudes on a map style game for 1 to 4 players, competitive and solo out of the box. And I'm also going to show you some of the cooperative mode that comes in the Fire and Ice expansion. This one brings together a lot of different aspects of previous Tiny Epic games. You have the area control aspect from the first one, Tiny Epic Kingdoms. You have action selection off of dice like Galaxies. There's a multi-use card aspect like in Tiny Epic Vikings, and a little bit of sprinkling of everything else. This really is a culmination style project from Gamelin Games. What you are looking at is prototype components. The final game will look very, very different. If you want to know more, I have the link in the show notes below. You can go check out their project on Kickstarter. As always, we do not accept any cash payment for any preview here in the One Stop Co-op Shop. We only want you to have the most information you can so that you can make your own backing decision. After these channel announcements, we're going to jump into a couple of sample turns of the solo and the cooperative modes of Tiny Epic Game of Thrones. We are the One Stop Co-op Shop, a multi-platform gaming empire, and your one stop for solo and cooperative gaming goodness. And so we spoke, and so we spoke, that Lord of Castamere. And now the rain weeps o'er his hall, and not a soul to hear. All right, so let us begin the overview looking at the personal player area. I am playing House Martell. Keep in mind, this is all prototype. As I announced in the intro, the castles will look different as well as these little troop meeples. So I get a personal player mat, which is going to track my gold and a few other things. I get a hand of 4 cards that are dealt out of this central card that everybody is going to partake in. And I also get an individual card that I'm going to be able to play from round to round, representing my main character, which is Oberyn Martell. They are not an avatar in terms of I coordinate all my moves through them. They're more like an advanced troop, where each of these troops have 1 strength. The named character would have 2 strength. Oberyn Martell begins in Dorne at the Castle Sunspear with 1 troop. Many of the spots in Westeros are going to have castles attached to them at the beginning of the game. Where the player begins the game, they're going to claim that castle. Now, in the multiplayer game, they place it at the end of their track. And as they gain more castles, which we're going to want to do to get more prestige, they get added to the track, kind of representing upkeep. So castles are expensive, so it puts a cap on how much you can earn. In solo, it works a little bit differently. This would be Sunspear. I'm setting it aside, and as I gain more castles, they would also get set aside when I check for prestige when that is relevant. The rival is the one that gets to put a cap on my income in solo. As they gain castles, they are going to reduce my income, representing the choking off of supply lines, making it harder for me to engage in Westerosi trade. My chosen opponent for this game is House Lannister. I could choose any of a number of houses. I happen to choose House Lannister because of the ancient enmity between Martell and Lannister. You golden fool, Sir Jaime. Your father tried to cheat us in a marriage proposal, giving us the dwarf instead of a more attractive marriage like your sister. That happened decades ago. Why do you Martells hold a grudge so much? Because we are hot-blooded from Dorne. Prepare to die. And so as Oberyn Martell started in Sunspear, Jaime Lannister is going to start in Casterly Rock area. If you are a show nerd and a book nerd like me, you will know that that is technically wrong. Sir Jaime Lannister is a part of the Kingsguard, has no titular claim to Casterly Rock. If you want to indulge your sticklerness like I do, there will be alternate characters. So I think there's going to be another little mini expansion with alternate cards. So maybe someone like Cersei or Tyrion, someone with actual claim to Castle Rock, you'll be able to play them instead. In addition to the active players, there will be 4 houses dealt into every single game of Tiny Epic Game of Thrones. So whether you're playing the solo all the way up to 4 players, you'll have these 4 neutral houses. They represent sources of allyship. So if you get them on your side, you get access to their special hero and all of their powers and troops that you can command if you have their allyship. And I'll go over how you gain their allyship when I get into the round. Most of their resources start on their mat, except for a couple of troops which are manning some of the different castles. So House Stark has troops deployed in Winterfell, House Greyjoy down in Pike, and House Baratheon right on my doorstep in Storm's End. One special house is House Aaron. House Aaron does not have a hero because, after all, it would not be fun to play Robin Aaron or Lysa Aaron or any of those clowns down there. However, they are in every game because they have a slightly improved alliance ability. This is a dice rolling game, and so House Aaron's ability will allow you to manipulate the dice with a little bit more control. I will get into that as I get into the round. So how does one win at the Game of Thrones? Of course, it's a Tiny Epic game, so we are going to score some points. So points come from various sources, depending on how many castles we conquer or how many battles we win. Our player mats have different sources of scoring, so scoring can come from everywhere. Along the way, as we play the different rounds, and there are 6 rounds total, there are going to be the scoring rounds. At the end of round 3, we will see who controls what territory, who controls King's Landing. I know this is not a very impressive King's Landing figure. Believe me, it'll get better in the final version. And different other scoring thresholds are going to be evaluated after round 3, round 5, and round 6. And the person with the most points is going to be the winner of the Game of Thrones. So how do you do things in Tiny Epic Game of Thrones? Here is the core action system. So I'll leave you to explore the way this plays out in multiplayer on your own. In solo, you are going to take 3 of your dice, and there are 6 possible actions, so 6 faces of the die, and you're going to give them a roll, and that's going to start to determine what you can do in a round. And so let me talk about the 6 actions in a general way, and then I will demonstrate it over the course of a round. These 3 are pretty simple, very core to dudes in a map style games. This one, you recruit, pay some gold, get some more troops out on the field. March and sail are 2 different modes of movement, one over land, one over sea. Very simple. Whisper is how you generate some gold as well as cycle your hand a little bit. When you take a whisper action, discard as many as you want, get some gold out of that, and then draw up to a maximum of 4 more cards. And we have the plot action. The plot is how we influence houses and make alliances. I'll demonstrate that as we get into it. And every card has an event attached to it, which is a way of mixing up gameplay. Here are the 3 dice that I rolled for House Martell. We have a March, a Sail, and a Whisper. If I wanted to, I could use the power on the mat, which for House Martell, re-roll both of your dice one time. That's what it says. You could re-roll all of them in solo. At least that's my understanding from the developer. Every house is going to have some kind of dice manipulation, so you're never stuck with what you got. In this particular case, I'm going to take a Whisper. So if you're familiar with other games like Tiny Epic Galaxies or Puerto Rico, these role selection systems, this one will work a little bit differently. So I am going to take the Whisper action, but first I get an optional action depending on where I place the die. So before I take this Whisper action, I'm going to put it here, which means that I can do an event first as an optional action. That's important because this action I do on my own, and if I was playing a multiplayer game, then once I did this dice action, then everyone else could get a follow. They can follow the action and do it. So there's constant engagement throughout the turns. In solo, I don't have to worry about that so much. Let's do the event. All right, so let's do the event. I'm going to play my hero card. So at the end of this, I'm going to flip it and then get it back at the end of the round. But let's take advantage. All right, Oberyn Martell, move a hero you control and no other units to any domain to start a battle. The hero counts as +4 instead of +2. It is nothing personal, House Baratheon. You are merely in my way on the quest to get the Iron Throne. So they are going to kamikaze in there, and they are going to take down this little area in Storm's End. Would this be something that I would do in a regular game? Maybe, but for a demo, let's go for it. The way battling works is you add up the strength of the unit. So I have a strength of 4 because of my card. The castle provides 1, and each troop provides 1. So I'm attacking this neutral player. We are even at 4-4. Then I play a card. So multi-use cards, one of the uses is gathering strength. I noticed I had a 5, which is the best that you can get. So I said, you know what? Let's go for it. So now I'm attacking with 4 plus 5 equals 9. The bot pulls from the top of the deck. Hopefully they don't pull a 5 as well, because the defender would win ties, but they pull a 3. That gets discarded, and I have claimed Storm's End for my own. So that is another castle. I set that aside. So I spoke about alliances before. This is one way to gain an alliance, browbeat it out of them. So I've conquered Storm End. I get one of their troops to put in to the ally pool. If I get to the end of the round, there'll be an alliance check. If I have 2 of them in here or more, then I gain their alliance token, which means that I get to control their characters as my characters. You see how powerful that can be.
Hello, captured fools. I have a deal for you. I would like to strike into King's Landing next round. Perhaps when I let you escape, you can escape over here. Position yourself, make an alliance, and next time we can strike into King's Landing together.
That's against the rules. When we lose a combat, we have to clear the area and go to this fief place.
Useless idiots! You are no use for me there.
That's on purpose. We don't want you to be able to follow us and conquer castles by the chain, so we have to escape into here.
Bah! Take your game mechanisms and shove them!
So now I have 2 castles over here, and I have 3 cards left. I would like to keep this card, because this is my gateway to getting allyship with Baratheons. I have that whisper action on my die, so I'm going to discard these 2 cards and get 2 gold, and then draw up to a maximum hand size of 4. All right, love that I have that 5. Brilliant. And that was the end of the round. This is the bot's turn now. That is a sail. So they get 1 card pull from the solo deck. They don't get to follow me. I get to follow this die. We'll see what happens. All right, so we have these 2 symbols. So they would do this symbol first as their optional action, and then this followable action. So always check to see Raven or Throne. The rival gets 1 power token in its ally pool for each non-player house it has at least 2 tokens of. What a card to get first. Yeah, baby. They are going to cause trouble with me, so I will take it. So now they are going to sail to the next target. Next target references this row, which are objectives. So as players clear out these power tokens, they're going to unlock the opportunity to score these in scoring rounds. If they have the home base, that's a point. And then the next one over is having 2 fief domains in control during scoring. So they are going to go for this one. All right, and it is a sail action, so they are going to go to a fief in another card. Let's say they go out to the Shield Islands. What wonderful memories in the Shield Islands when me and Cersei...
Sir Jaime, there's trouble coming.
What trouble?
The trouble on the horizon is the sun and the spear. The child of Martell shall sweep along with this die that I can use to follow and attack Casterly Rock from the rear.
Now that means I lose Storm's End. And by the way, that is why this troop did not walk with Jaime Lannister, because they always leave troops behind. I don't have that limitation, so worth giving up Storm's End so I can have a chance at Casterly Rock. And that is exactly what I had in mind when I picked this 5. Maybe I should keep it for defense, but it's too good. He left it right for me. We are going to pick up from the top of the deck. That is a support action. So this would be 1 and 2 for the castle and 2 for the troop. And Jaime is over here, so they count as support. So that would be 4. Unfortunately, I bring the pain with 7.
Get out of my sight, Lannister scum.
I was going to change sides if you let me. Anytime you kill a troop, it goes back on the mat in the multiplayer. That would usually result in some kind of award. So here, the losing player would get a coin for having to return their troop. In solo, they get nothing. And so I also claim the castle. So now I have freed this up. I'm back to my 2 castles. Not bad for it not even being my turn. All right, next turn. So every round is going to be me, then bot, then me, then bot, and then pass. One of these die will not get used. Unfortunately, I have this assail and this walk or march, and I don't have use for any of those. So let's go ahead and sweep these up. Let's see if I can get a recruit or something along those lines. Ooh, look at that. Choices abound. Doesn't matter. I will just use this, but before I do the recruit action, I'm going to use a plot. So I held this card back for this very purpose. I'm going to go down from 5 to 3 gold, discard this, and take action against 2 different houses. That is going to be House Greyjoy and House Baratheon. And now I have the seeds of an alliance with House Baratheon and the beginning of an alliance with House Greyjoy. And since I'm here, because I know that the Lannisters are going to get a little bit froggy on me, let's go ahead and recruit 2. You see the cost over here. Recruiting from this section will cost 1. It gets more expensive as you go.
You want your castle back? Do you want your castle back?
Don't you know that I'm a sworn member of the Kingsguard? I don't want any castle back. I have my castle and I have my sister.
You faithless dog! Why don't you go back there and fight for your birthright?
It's not my birthright anymore, Cersei. Come with me to King's Landing and we could be friends together.
I love you. I hate you. Let's go.
Reason I'm putting troops over here is because of that next target effect. The next target now is going to be Casterly Rock every time. All right, it is time for the bot to wrap up the round. They do so on a whisper. But before they do that, they get their bonus action sale, and this is Game of Thrones. Those sneaky dogs. Sale action is going to take Jaime Lannister to Sunspear, which is too lightly guarded. So right now there's an even match. We got the castle and the figure, so that makes 2. The hero on the other side is 2. I have these 2 cards left to defend. Probably shouldn't use that 5. So this 2 is, there's a chance, but it's kind of weak. I might just have to retreat, which is not the worst thing in the world. So if they had won, they would take this off the map and get a victory point. Yeah, we're not living that life. Let's go ahead and move over here. I'm not exactly sure if this, because it's occupied by a non-player house. I'm not sure if that counts as friendly, but I think so. I think that as long as I respect the domain rules, which is you can only have 6 total units, 3 from a faction, that's okay. So they are just going to park themselves here. And unfortunately, I lose Sunspear. That is now on my track as one of those gold stoppers. Had I lost the troop, it would have just come back here and I would have gotten the coin. I'd rather have the troop on the field for now. Oh, they get to keep on going. Transfer 1 power token from your ally pool to the rival's ally pool. That is the whisper action. So that's why you try to load up on allies to protect what you got going on. So I get to follow that. Of course, I'm going to follow that. I have 1 card left. We're going to go ahead and discard that, get 1 coin, and draw back up to 4. So that's really nice because, oh, another 5. I better hold on to that one. This is nice because, I mean, just in this game, you see how important card play is. Having the right cards, making sure your hand is full of them, discarding when you need money, back and forth. There really is a rhythm to this one. So that is the end of the round. First thing that happens is the alliance check. Boom! I have earned the alliance of House Baratheon. You think you're going to keep Sunspear? I don't need my hero in order to invade you. I don't like the look of this. Next thing that happens is taxation. The first part of that is we are going to check our mat. I have 2 coins open in these slots, so I get 2. I also get a card. And just because the hand limit is 4, I can still draw. I just have to discard one of these. So I got this card. It's a 3. That's not bad. Tully. That's not bad. Gain 3. Ho, ho, ho. And move a hero. Okay. I like the sound of that. So I'll go ahead and choose a card to discard. Bye-bye. Critical Battle. And so now I gain coins based on the fief domains that I control. Because I got the alliance and because that stuff happens in order, I do get the gold from controlling this with me and my House Baratheon allies. The bot does not get any gold, so they did not participate in taxation the same way. However, they do have these 2 coins whose existence is to get in my way. So now I only have these 4 options open to me if I want to take the optional actions, which you almost want to do. So that's kind of why this is a little bit annoying, but you can work with it. Last thing, as part of end of round, you check the allies, you discard any that are in excess of 2 because alliances are fleeting. No matter how much you've paid them, browbeat them, etc., they're always going to have 1 foot out the door, so you have to make sure you're cultivating that allyship every round. But I don't have to worry about that, I only have the 2. On to the next round if this was a solo game, but I think that is sufficient for the demonstration of the base game solo. Let's get into Ice and Fire cooperative mode. And here is the cooperative mode, the fight against the Night King. So a bunch of elements get added to the board. First of all, we have the wall, which, believe me, is going to look a lot better in live terms than it is in this prototype. Once again, all prototype components. And we also have north of the wall, including familiar places like Craster's Keep, etc. And we also have the Night King in all of their glory, their White Walkers, and their ability to affect the land via inflicting fear. And oh, by the way, Dracolich. Use your imagination, people. I know the proper term is Ice Dragon. I'm crossing the streams with Dracolich. That's okay. I am a raging geek of all sorts of things. Anyway, so here is the replacement mats. We have a common alliance mat. We still have the personal mats for players, but in terms of building alliances, that goes in here. The alliance pool, there is no more individual getting of alliances. Now we are banding all of Westeros together. In addition, we always have the maximum of coins available to us. The castles, instead of going on the player mat, are going to go here. And the more castles we get, the more points we score during the scoring phase. We also need 6 castles to enter King's Landing, which we're going to want to do. Here is the player marker. There's 1 marker for scoring. And we have a little bit of a head start because it is very easy for the Night King to get ahead on points. If you want to play harder modes, yeah, do that. Not recommended for your first time. Anyway, so the Night King is going to streak ahead on points. If we stay ahead of the Night King, then we can attack it. If the Night King laps us, then they are that much closer to victory. Only victory condition in cooperative mode is to defeat the Night King in glorious combat. And here is the Night King and the White Walkers, a very, very tough foes to beat. You can see that in the mathematics as they're laid out. So we have the Night King over here. The base strength is 3. They have support coming from the White Walkers, and there's a mechanism where he's always going to have White Walkers around him, so he gets to add that strength. And also the top of the card, that card flip that happens pretty much every time you fight something. And you have this row. So you have to go north of the wall to find the obsidian that will weaken the Night King. So as of now, that you're getting a +7 on top of everything, yeah, that fight is not going to happen. In addition, the White Walkers are also formidable on their own. They start with a base strength of 1 and their card flip. Also, they add the 5 empty slots. We have to find Valyrian steel swords, which are floating around Westeros. House Tarly has one. Good old Samwell's dad. We have other houses as well. All we got to do is shake them down, find them out, and fill in that row of Valyrian steel swords. For the most part, Dragonglass is located north of the wall. Right now, at the start of the game, we cannot penetrate the wall. It is standing, very hard to get past it. But as these tokens get revealed by various game effects, we'll find some Dragonglass and try to be able to claim it. South of the wall, what has made it south? Valyrian steel, like Jaime's sword and Brienne's sword and all sorts of characters there. Some of these exploration tokens will have Valyrian steel and other positive effects. So at the beginning of a cooperative game, you're going to spend a lot of time moving your troops around, trying to uncover as much of the field as possible. Lord Dork alert. You look at that, there's Dragonstone. It has plenty of Dragonglass in the books and the show. So I don't know why I can't have a little token with some obsidian and mine that stuff and get it up to the north of the wall. Yeah, fine. Game balance. Whatever. All right. In terms of getting the Night King phase going, the beginning of that is always going to be the Ranger's Report. We have 6 cards for 6 rounds. And there's different iterations of the cards. In round 1, the Night King cannot attack, so you get 1 round of reprieve and preparation. See, there you go. Night King does not attack. Not true of the rest of the cards. And as you can see, we are going to get some discoveries from our intrepid Night Watchman.
Samuel, move that fat tub of lard your collar behind.
You know what the best thing about Gilly is? She's so nice, even though everything is happening around her.
You know you can't be with her. Keep going.
Oh, Dollar said, why are you such a downer all of the time?
Because we're up here, you fool. There's monsters about.
If there were no tokens in these domain areas, then you would put a token face down, but there are tokens, so let's go ahead and reveal. There is Dragonglass. All the way up at the top, of course. And let's see what is over here. Ooh. I have encountered the Three-Eyed Raven. Three-Eyed Raven is a seer, so they're able to scry according to this next ranger report. However, I have not arrived there yet. I actually have to get there and explore the token in order to be able to take advantage of that scry. So the Night King's plans are inscrutable to me for one more round.
Get back behind the castle, you dumb idiot. Those aren't grumblings. They are real White Walkers.
Ah! So there are a bunch of ways that Night Walkers get deployed onto the field. The event deck is one of them. When the Night King attacks, they will surround themselves with Night Walkers and other game effects as well. When this is empty and we have to place a Night Walker, the Night King gets victory points. So that is where a big part of the Night King getting those victory points, getting ahead of us. At the start of the game, the Hand of the King, which is the start player, is going to get 2 dice and roll them. So they will be able to choose from an event card or a march. The next player over is going to get their own die to roll. So I have this 2-player game. So that is a die for them. That is a march. In the 2-player game, these other 2 die are going to be available to follow at the end of the round. So let's go ahead and just give those a roll right now. And we are going to program them lots of whispering. Don't know how useful that's going to be. But we'll see. That means that I'll have a lot of gold available to me. So I might want to spend a lot of my gold right now. Your job is to stay ahead of it so you can attack it. So Jon Snow had a lot of childhood trauma from growing up in the Stark household, rejected by his stepmother Catelyn. So he wants to get revenge right away. So we are going to use this die. On the mat for the Night Watch, their power is set a die to any face that has not been used yet. Let's go ahead and turn that face into a recruit. But before we do that, we are going to go and place that in the event so we could do an event as an optional action before we recruit. Crushing Siege. Perform a move action that results in a battle in a castle domain or in King's Landing and gain +3 for it. Look what you did to me. I don't want to be here. I'm freezing my buns off. This castle should be mine. So we are going to play a 5 to supplement that because of childhood trauma. I should get a +2 for thematic battling. And so that is 2 on the hero, 3 on the event, 5 on the battle card that I played. That is 10. The bot cannot beat me. Jon Rage cannot be denied.
Don't you remember me, Jon? I taught you how to use swords.
Aye, you taught me well. Very well. The bot cannot resist. And so this is ours. Castle Black belongs to the Alliance. We claim 1 for the ally pool, and the other 2 mooks move out to an adjacent area. As I said before, the Alliance pool is common. I'll get to that in just a second.
Recruitment on your lot. The black or the gallows? I am the sword in the darkness. I am the watcher on the walls. I am the fire that burns against the cold. That was a good little bit of vengeance you showed there, Lord Snow. Perhaps you have a little bit of Southron blood in you after all. I am of the North. I have no Southron blood in me.
It is Oberyn's turn. They are going to follow. They're going to spend 1 gold because that's all they can spend. There can only be 3 troops of a certain faction in an area. So we are going to just get that 1 troop going. So now it is the Night King's turn, and they are going to inflict some fear. You take the top card of the deck. It's similar to a plot where you look at the symbols and you go off of the symbol. So got a nice mix over here. They are going to take 1 power from House Greyjoy, which happens to be in the game. And so that represents the whispers of the Night King entering the halls of Pike and terrifying, or getting on their way to terrifying, some of the denizens of House Greyjoy. So how that works is if they're able to make an alliance according to the regular rules, that's actually a terrify, which means they're harder to recruit and they're out of the battle in terms of saving Westeros. And so they also got this symbol that is not in the game as a non-player house. So instead, they go ahead and put a White Walker in the field pool. This represents direct attacks against my alliance. If I let the round elapse and there are multiple White Walkers in here, they're going to start to weaken my own allies, which I do not want. So House Martell, not exactly spoiled for choice over here. They have the choice of the 2 die, but they could re-roll. That's their power. Instead, we are going to put this on the plot and introduce a little wrinkle in the Ice and Fire expansion. Now, I could use this gold to show up some alliances, but we are playing a little bit of defense because in this game, Oberyn is the smooth operator. So we are going to go back into the allies, give them a nice little pep talk. We know the White Walkers exist, people, but if we stand together, we can resist and fight. So that takes one, basically like a story or like a morale hit out of there, and we've been heartened, one less White Walker to deal with. I am also going to move. That gives up Sunspear, which I'm not too keen on, but in the early game, before round scoring, it doesn't matter how many castles you have. So you can only discover these tokens if you have a group of 3, which is why I want to take the group of 3. Let's see what it is. It is a coin. Boo! Buy the 7. That should be Valyrian steel. Sansa! Sansa! Yes?
Where is your mother?
I'm never going to tell. Her whereabouts are my secret to protect to the grave.
You know, if I catch your mother, you are the Lady of Winterfell now.
Oh, really? She went that way.
Bah!
All right, they are going to initiate a battle with a follow on that march. The fleeing remnants of House Stark, and this is a much easier battle. We got 2 versus 2. Actually, that's not an easy battle. We got the conscripts. That adds another +2, so that is merely +4 versus 2. Basically, anything but a 1 will beat me. Oh, sorry about that. I'll get you, Caitlyn, next time! Well, at least I got us 2 gold and a victory point. You wondered what this was all about. When the hero is lost, and the hero can get lost, of course, the only time that you don't remove a losing enemy is when they're the last one, because you can't have 0 of a faction. Anyway, Jon Snow loses. They have to lick their wounds, but at least I got 2 gold and a victory point out of that. So then, after every player turn is the fear. So then they get another a conscript from House Greyjoy. That means that the house would be terrified. They cannot be recruited, and they have +1 to defend against enemy attacks. So they just got taken out of the fight. I have to do something special to unterrify them. And I get another White Walker, but since there's not 2 White Walkers there, then they're not going to affect my ally pool. So then in the cooperative game, I would do these 2 actions, at least in the 2-player game. I have 2 Whispers, so I have a whole bunch of gold for the next turn. Lots of recruiting, lots of moving, getting as many of these tokens as possible. As we scryed, the Night King will attack, which means that they are going to get rid of that wall with this dragon. Dragon is going to be perched over here and hunting for Dragonglass. The Night King is going to slowly make their way down, destroying castles. Eventually, when we find all the Dragonglass, the dragon will follow the Night King and adding to their strength. Hopefully, by then, I've made enough alliances. I've recruited enough of my own troops. I've mitigated the fear, and I'm able to take down the Night King in glorious combat. And so that is the entire demo that I have for you for Tiny Epic Game of Thrones. If you want to know more, go ahead and check the show notes if you're watching this video when it comes on. Then the campaign is not live yet, so you'll be able to do one of those notify me type deals. If it is during the campaign, then go ahead and check out if Tiny Epic Game of Thrones is a game for you. This is Jason with the One Stop Co-op Shop reminding you that winter is coming.